I'm CeLillianne Green. Say that with me, CeLillianne Green.
CeLillianne Green.
Great, I'm glad you did that because they have my name spelled slightly wrong on the poster out there. So my name is pronounced CeLillianne, and I'm glad to be with you today because you're a wonderful musician. I want to do something a little different from what you've been hearing this afternoon. I'm going to do some poetry. We're going to start with what I would like to do in terms of paying tribute and homage to the source of this music. So the first thing we're going to do is pay our respects to the ancestors. The first poem I'm going to do is called Libation for the Ancestors. Libation for the Ancestors. I pour this libation into fertile earth. I pour this libation to honor the ancestors' birth. For the African ancestors known and unknown, I pour this libation for Africans forced from their home. I pour this libation for the ancestors' land, the land of the indigenous African man, the land on which the African was born, the African homeland from which they were torn. I pour this libation for the ancestors to come. I acknowledge that we all come from the original one, the original indigenous African woman and man. Their union as one is the reason I stand. So I pour this libation for who I am, and for the ancestors, I raise my hands. Libation for the ancestors.
All right, all right.
So this next poem I'm going to do for you is a poem, the first poem I actually intentionally wrote. The poem is entitled Because I Love You, and I hope you feel it in the way that I intended. When I wrote it, I was originally trying to write a children's book, and what I realized after I finished writing it, that I had actually written it for little CeLillianne. So I hope you appreciate it, because I love you. Because I love you, I thank God for the day of your birth. Because I love you, I help you grow and know your self-worth. Because I love you, I show my commitment to you every day. Because I love you, I believe in you come what may. Because I love you whether near or far. Because I love you, I accept you as you are. Because I love you, I treat you with respect and dignity. Because I love you, I ask God to teach me to love you faithfully. Because I love you, I listen to you with my ears, eyes, and heart. Because I love you, I miss you when we're apart. Because I love you from head to toe. Because I love you, I tell you and everyone I know. Because I love you, I value that you're one of a kind. Because I love you, I encourage you to speak your mind. Because I love you, I wipe away your tears. Because I love you, I trust God to erase your doubts and fears. Because I love you, I spend time with you. Because I love you, I share what I have with you. Because I love you, I nurture you with tender loving care. Because I love you, I cherish you as precious and rare. Because I love you, no ifs, ands, or buts. Because I love you, I tell you the truth, no matter what. Because I love you, I kiss you and hold you in my arms. Because I love you, I keep you safe from harm. Because I love you, I pay attention to how you feel. Because I love you, I show you my faith in God is real. Because I love you, I laugh, cry, and sigh with you. Because I love you, I share who I am with you. Because I love you, I tell you I'm sorry when I'm wrong. Because I love you, I try not to be away from you for very long. Because I love you, I forgive you when you hurt my feelings. Because I love you, I support you when you need emotional healing. Because I love you, I comfort you when you stumble or fall. Because I love you, I answer when you call. Because I love you, I understand when you need some space. Because I love you, I encourage you to live life at your own pace. Because I love you, I pray with you and for you to God above. Because I love you, I ask God to bless you with joy, peace, and more love. Because I love you.
All right.
Thank you. I've read that poem at weddings and babies' blessings and church anniversaries and marital anniversaries and so people really do feel it, so I hope you felt it as well. The next piece I'm going to do is a tribute to the origins of this music that we do call jazz. And it's important that we pay attention to and honor the origins of that which we have created. I have a poem called Jazz Messengers, which has two parts. The first part is called Sound Effects, which I'm going to do for you this evening. This is Jazz Messengers Sound Effects. A message has been sent to this earthly place, delivered by people of the African race. It is a message from high above, delivered as music with God's love. It was created in the labor pangs of a racist ideology, nurtured into a sound whole and free. It is an African sound, the sound of a musical art form, the music of Africa's children in America born, delivered as their sound pure and sweet, felt in the rhythm of a jazz beat, felt as the vibration of their soul, felt in their music that will never grow old. This music is around the world known. Enjoyment comes from its pure tone. When the sound of jazz is heard, the listener does not wish to be disturbed. To hear jazz is to be internally affected by a sound that jazz messengers have perfected. Jazz is the perfection of the soulful, the sacred. Unencumbered, jazz is naked. It is truly an intimate sound, visceral and profound, emanating from people who touch their core, the core where freedom is found. Jazz is how freedom sounds. This music is a message of freedom that continues to ring true because the jazz messengers brought it through. Through middle passage water, trauma and blood stains, through drum beats, chants, screams and pain, through the weight of cotton sacks on bare backs, through singing the blues and learning in one-room schools, through healers, storytellers and rituals, through living in a nation oh so cruel. They brought it through call and response in a sacred space, a space where they found the Creator's face. Indeed, jazz is the Creator's perfect intent, delivered as a musical sacrament. This music, the jazz messengers baptized and ordained, then played this music to keep their people sane. With their music, their rhythm, their soul-kissed sound, jazz messengers could do nothing but astound. Jazz messengers, sound effects. So this next piece is entitled Dark Matter, and it came to me one night when I was watching PBS and Deepak Chopra was on, and he was talking about the universe and the galaxy and how dark matter keeps the galaxy together. And so I was inspired to write this poem because it made me think about black people. It's called Dark Matter. Dark Matter. You are the darkness that matters. I do not say this to flatter. It is a natural fact the universe and darkness have made a pact. From darkness everything comes, there is nothing others need to bring. The North Star routinely boasts, darkness is the gracious host. For passion, for intimacy, for the ideal lover, darkness is the exquisite color. Darkness is pure, darkness is sure. It is where the beginning can be traced. This fact cannot be erased. Darkness is a matter of fact. It is the dark matter upon which science acts. Science acts to understand dark matter in time and space, to understand how it holds the galaxy in place. It holds the galaxy because dark matter is free. It is not subject to control or command. Dark matter is the Creator's plan. Blacker than black, bluer than blue, with an all-encompassing view. It is eternal, it is exact, all else is mere extract. Toward dark matter all draw near. With dark matter all is clear. All is clear, and this is true, because dark matter is you. Dark matter, dark matter. So I'd like to introduce gentlemen who are up here playing with me. These are some wonderful musicians. Introducing them alphabetically: Ray Barringer on the sax, Kent Miller on the bass, and Bill Washburn on the keyboards. And they're going to entertain you with footprints. I'm just going to step aside while they do. Great. So the next piece I'm going to do for you is based on an experience I had several years ago before I was even writing poetry at one of these Congressional Black Caucus events. I was sitting in the lobby and this brother walked in, and it was something about the way he walked. So I know the women out there understand what I'm talking about. This poem is entitled The Way He Walked. The way he walked, he didn't really need to talk. I watched him when he came into the room. He brought with him a quiet boom. My eyes were drawn to his virile gait, a pace that was serene and sedate, a steady stride, almost a glide. Quiet power and elegance too. He didn't say a word, he didn't have to. He looked around the room and caught my eye. I smiled politely and mouthed the word, hi. He returned the smile and walked my way. I restrained myself, and in my seat I stayed. But I inhaled and exhaled the way he walked. And when he reached my table, well then, we talked. The way he walked, the way he walked. This next piece is entitled Home. So hopefully you'll get a brother who walks like that and you take him home. This is called Home. Without notice or warning, quietly like the new day dawning, he opens the door to my heart and moves inside to the deepest part. This is no ordinary day. I am clear God sent him my way. He arrives at the perfect time. My heart is wide open and perfectly primed. He makes himself at home right away. My heartbeat tells me of his desire to stay. There is not much I need to say. My beat of my heart sounds the same way. We share a soul vibration, a perfect tone on a frequency heard by us and us alone. He hears it and I hear it too. The sound of pure love, absolute and true. In this pure love, we are at home. And from this love, we never roam. Home, home. Thank you. As you know, there's all kinds of love. That mother's love is some of the most important. For this next piece, the mothers out there, the aunties, the grandmoms. I lost my mother earlier this summer, so I remember her. And the last time that my mother and my father saw me perform live was in 2019 at this event. So I remember them as ancestors, but I also want to remember and acknowledge at this point Bernard Gray, who is an ancestor as well, who invited me to participate in 2019 at this festival. So this next piece is entitled I Didn't Know. I Didn't Know. I didn't know I could love like this. I didn't know I could experience such bliss. I didn't know when you were born in you my heart would now be warm. I had no idea my child could take my heart and teach me to love from the deepest part. I didn't know how much I had to learn, or that from this love I would never return. I had no concept of love like this, or that between us this love would always persist. I didn't know the joy of seeing your tiny lips, or the power of feeling your tender kiss. I didn't know that in your eyes I would now see the sunrise. I would see the sunrise and never forget that because of you, God and I met. I didn't know that when I bore a child, I would be intoxicated by your smile, or that I would gladly shed my tears to erase your doubts and remove your fears. Carrying you in my womb has allowed me to fully bloom. I have bloomed and made room. I've made room for love like this, love I could never dismiss. You are my child, the fruit of my loins, and the power of love we are forever joined. Joined in a love that will never set as long as tears continue to be wet. A love like this I'd never known, but with your birth I've been shown. You've shown me the power of motherhood. Before you, it was a power I misunderstood. And I will use this power to move heaven and earth to make sure you know your value and your worth. With you, I have experienced love in its purest form, the love for which I was born. Before you, I didn't know there was love like this. And now I know why I exist. I didn't know. I didn't know. So the next piece, I'm going to go back a little bit to the days when the Obamas were living in the White House. And Some of you may recall that Michelle Obama got constant pushback on her arms. So I wrote this in tribute to her and also as my take, another take on the Second Amendment. And it's entitled, The Right to Bear Arms. The Right to Bear Arms. There is no reason to be alarmed. She has no intent to harm. Our new First Lady does have something to say. She says it in a quiet power play. It is the power radiating from her smile, the power demonstrated in her style. It can be seen day or night that she wears what she thinks is right. Some say hit or miss has been her fashion sense. Others come to her complete defense. For those who think she has not conformed the protocol standards or predecessor norms. For those who want the First Lady covered up and in sleeves and who for prior First Ladies continue to grieve, this is a new day, with the new First Lady having her say. During any season for internal reasons, she is her own woman and she will decide. When her arms, she will not hide. Protocol enforcement certainly has its place, but not in her closet space. It is her subtle power play, one in which our First Lady will have her way, as she maintains a sense of herself in order to sustain her emotional health, balancing who she is with who others would like her to be. She is the First Lady many thought they would never see. For those who need more time to become accustomed to her face, for those who will never accept her presence in White House space, this is a new era, a new day. Things will be done a different way. We have a new First Lady. She is a First Lady of grace, dignity, and charm, and she has the right to bear arms. The right to bear arms. So when I was a little girl, I spent my summers in Georgia with my grandma. That was a big part of summer vacation. We went to grandma's house, and I wrote a poem about my grandma called Old School. But in the poem, I asked people to tell me the names that they called their grandma. So inside the poem, you will hear other references to the names that people use in reference to their grandmothers. And I hope there's something about this poem that resonates with you. So as I remember my grandma, I hope you'll remember yours. It's called Old School. Old School. They don't make them like her anymore. The grandma you could not ignore. A nana who carried wisdom of the sages handed down through the ages. A mama for trips south in the summer where the oppressive heat was a bummer. It was her way and no other. She was the old-fashioned grandmother. For her life did not provide jewels for her crown. Too often she was burdened and weighed down. Gran was born when indoor plumbing was not always the rule, and the odor from an outhouse was quite cruel. Farms had the basic tools. There was no tractor, just a mule. Granny knew hard work intimately. Too often she worked for free. Hard work was part of living and dying. Children worked too. No escape, no crying. Summertime grands had chores to do in less than a week, but there was hide and seek. Don't be. No school, fun at the pool, party line, telephones, listen in, no one knows. Croquet and kickball, be in the yard when my dear calls. Thunder, lightning, and pouring rain, shucking corn, snapping beans, and eating sugarcane. Clothespins and clotheslines, don't play in the street, have you lost your mind? Back tree limbs with the truck tire swing, fat ladies in the church choir can't sing. Old men chewing tobacco and dipping snuff. Granny, why do they like that stuff? Homemade ice cream and Friday fish fries, missing home and starting to cry. Do not leave your dirty clothes on the floor, I'll give you something to cry for. Hands on hips, don't poke out your lips. Laughter and inner tubes float on the lake. Somebody can't swim, big mistake. Dogs were tied in the yard, dogs inside the house were on guard. Penny candy from the store, can't get enough, always want more. Food was never wasted, scraps for the hogs were soon tasted. The hogs were barbecued and basted, all parts eaten like I said, nothing wasted. Old folks rocking and talking on the porch. Somebody mentions the night of the torch. Too young to understand, Grandma, what is the Klan? High flying on rusty swing sets, no perspiration, just sweat. longing for a gentle breeze, climbing trees and scraped knees. Mammy was the pharmacy, wounds healed with her remedies. Unlocked doors, linoleum floors, dancing barefoot to the southern beat. Do not rush in this heat. Mosquitoes on the attack, protect your legs, your arms, your back. At sundown, Mosquito Man drives around, fogging up the air with bug spray, interrupting children at play. Shut the screen door or flies will get in. Where have you been? It's late, well past 8. No dinner, we already ate. Big Mama was old school, nobody's fool. Children knew the rules. Get a switch from the tree, do not talk back to me. Don't mumble, don't rumble. Be quiet, close your mouth, don't make me have to shout. Hind parts were quickly fixed, sleep and tears easily mixed. Next day you're anxious to go out and play. However, in the house you must stay. G-Mom had her say, you misbehaved, so not today. Tomorrow you will again play in the sun, continue to have southern fun. Until then, for the outside you can only yearn. Your grand's old school lesson you completely learn. You learn to do as you're told, increasing your chances of growing old. Old enough to return north with a southern accent, proving down south is where you went. Old school, old school. Thank you. I hope everybody here has been to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It's an amazing, amazing space, and I've been there just countless times. And on one of my visits in the lower level, next to Harriet Tubman Shaw, there is a case that contains a $100 reward notice that was posted in 1853 by a man named James Belt. And this notice was posted for a black man who had taken his freedom. And this all happened in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and this may be the reason we have Beltsville. But in his notice, Mr. James Belt described this black man, whose name was Richard Lowe, as tall and stout, about 28 years of age, a missing tooth, a full suit of hair, and perfectly black. Now this is 1853, that this white man, in an effort to recapture a black man who had taken his freedom, could see the perfection of his blackness, so much so that he wrote it in the notice to recapture him. And the poem started to come to me right then. And the poem is entitled, I Am Perfectly Black. I am perfectly black. I am perfectly black. My ancestors were, and I am, perfectly black. I need not deny it or put on an act. Who I am is an undisputed fact. I am perfect. I am black. I come from ancestors who came through. I know what I am here to do. I am here to keep their legacy intact. With them I have a spiritual pact. Our soul connection is real. Their power I am able to feel. In their power I know what can be done. Toward them I do not walk, I run. Their spirits are ever near, reminding me of what is clear. It is clear the future is now here. The future of ancestors who cried perfect tears. Tears to which they were able to see. Descendants not yet born, absolutely free. Of those descendants I am but one, yet many more are destined to come. For those to come I must be true, and like our ancestors I must come through. Through the middle passage of this day and time, moving humanity into a new paradigm. In this knowledge I firmly stand, rooted to my ancestral land. I stand firm, I stand free, girded by ancestors who are here with me. Like them, I am perfectly black. I am perfect. I am 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 black.
All right.
Thank you. The next piece is entitled Body Language. And I wrote this because I feel that too often we are walking by each other and we're not even saying hi. And if you don't say hi, you really have already said goodbye. And we have to acknowledge the humanity of each other when we see each other. And it doesn't take much to just say hi. So this poem is called Body Language. Body Language. He's half a block away. I hear what his body has to say. His body says I have to appear preoccupied, I have to appear almost disguised. He believes I will not speak to him, so he uses his body to pretend. To pretend he's not there, he believes I may not care. Yet his body language told a lie. The lie that he would be ignored by me, that I would walk by him and not see. Not see my brother, my family, my friend. But I won't ignore him, I won't pretend. I won't pretend I do not see the man who reflects me back to me. Sadly, I've heard this body language before. This language I routinely ignore. I know what the message of this culture says I should do. I also know that message is not true. It is not a risk for black men to speak to me. Black men I always see. I do not see them as criminals or suspects. I acknowledge their humanity. I give them respect. With me, a black man should experience a sense of peace. I am his counterpart, meant to bring him relief. I am not the one who pretends I do not see black men. Of course, this he doesn't know as he walks my way. He doesn't know I speak to black men every day. I am the product of a black man's seed. I must speak to black men, yes indeed. So when this black man walks toward me, I will speak to him and he will see. He will see me bring the lie of his body language to an end, just as he begins. As he begins to look away, I'll startle him when he hears me say, hi. Yet I anticipate the tone of his reply as if to ask, why? Why did you speak to me? Too many act as if they do not see. But I see my brother, my father, my uncle, my son. I know that together we are one. We are one and the same. Not to speak to each other continues the pain. I don't want him to feel pain, to feel hurt, or to feel weak. I want him to open his mouth to naturally speak. I want him to speak with a smile bright and wide, a smile that makes me feel warm inside. It's a smile wrapped around the word hello, and when he says it, we both know. We know I've done what I should do. I have acknowledged his humanity and mine too. His smile is what I need to see because I am him and he is me. More importantly, his smile lets me know why I love black men from head to toe. Body language, body language. So thank you so much. I want to thank my band. We're about to close out again. Ray Barringer on the sax, Kent Miller on the bass, and Bill Washburn on the keys. So thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to close out. I also want to thank Anacostia Bid for inviting me to be here this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the poetry. It's a little bit different from what you were listening to, but hopefully I gave you some food for thought. And I'm going to close out without any music, but this is a piece entitled Courage to Love. And as we live in this country at this time, and at any time really, but particularly at this time, we need to have the courage to love who we are. And I think that that really is all needs to be said about it. We need the courage to love. Courage to love. It takes courage to love people vilified and scorned. To love people unwanted in the land where they were born. It takes courage to love and to rise above those mired in hate. It takes courage to love, and today is the date. Today is the date to choose love, not hate. Love is the choice we must now make. The future of humanity is clearly at stake. Love is a choice most profound, requiring the strength to stand even on shaky ground. Love is not for the meek or the faint of heart. We must be prepared and willing to start. Love is a full-time job requiring a full-time heart. To qualify, you need courage to do your part. It takes courage to love you every day, regardless of what others say. You must be prepared to love the color of your skin, knowing the Creator put your melanin in. You must be willing to love all of who you absolutely are, knowing you are a shining star. Knowing you have real enemies on the front lines, your self-love they seek to undermine. Especially as you love and commit to your emotional health, with knowledge that self-love is your true wealth. Self-love will move you forward one step at a time to courageously break the self-hate bind. Loving yourself is what you are naturally here to do, and I am here to encourage you. The courage to love. So again, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned, and I'm going to close out with my band. They're going to close you out with Night Train. Night Train. And one thing I should have told you, my name again is CeLillianne Green, and I do have a website, CeLillianneGreen.com, and that's spelled CLILLIANN. Green like this blouse I have on, green like the color, green like money, CeLillianne Green. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, give it up one more time for CeLillianne Green. And her band is amazing too.